we commemorate ANZAC Day and honour the sacrifices of all service members, both human and animal, past and present, who dedicate their lives to our safety and freedom, we wanted to share something a little different. This special edition video will be a little different to our previous videos, but it's born from a culmination of numerous investigations and extensive research. So settle in and prepare to be introduced to a figure we hold in high regard, Captain Edward William Downing, a spirit that has truly captivated us. It was May 2024, and the wind blowing off the nearby river did little to improve the already chilly atmosphere as 4 members of our group, Georgia, Riley, Phil and I, gathered around a picnic table at a local lookout. A then much smaller collection of paranormal investigation gadgets lay scattered around us, the screen on my phone displaying the GhostTube app. The app, a supposed window to the other side, churned out words and responses. Regrettably, while I managed to capture some of what was being said in the screenshots, the majority of the night's communication, particularly the primary conversation with the entity we came to know as Edward, was lost in the app's limited word log. Though the digital record is incomplete, the initial encounter with Edward remains etched into our memories, an eerie prologue to a story we were determined to understand. It began as many things do, a tentative question and an unexpected answer. During our investigation using the GhostTube original app, a male voice suddenly broke through the phone speakers, capturing our immediate attention. It was clear from the outset that this entity was not simply a random anomaly. He was willing and even eager to communicate. As we excitedly engaged, framing our questions with respect and curiosity, the conversation began to unfold. Driven by a desire to understand who we were speaking to, we posed the pivotal question: "Can you tell us your name?" Moments of silence hung in the air before finally the name Edward echoed through our speakers, setting a collective sheath of goosebumps over us. During our communication with Edward through GhostTube Original and Sia, he consistently presented images and descriptions evoking rooms of an older style house, a comforting lounge room, a personal bedroom, and a warm fireplace. We initially pondered the meaning behind these specific images and words, questioning if they held any deeper significance. Now, reflecting on Edward's story, which I'll delve into further, it seems plausible that he was, in fact, showing us a representation of a former home. However, the true highlight of our conversation was when Edward transmitted the name Barbara. Intrigued by this sudden appearance, we directly asked Edward about Barbara's identity. The response delivered through Edward's voice was simply, "Soulmate." This admission deeply touched us, resonating with a sense of profound connection and leaving a lasting impression, especially as we walked back to our cars afterwards. As we walked back along the dark gravel path, a couple large signs plastered with engraved plaques, as well as many plaques scattered throughout the shrubs, adorned both sides of the track. While we stopped to look at a couple of the large signs, scanning the names in hopes of finding an Edward and Barbara together on one plaque, it wasn't to be, so we accepted it and kept walking. That wasn't until almost the end of the track, when I felt an indescribable feeling course through my body. I loudly announced to the group, "It could be one of these signs along the side," as I flicked my small torch and quickly swept it to the right of me. The beam of light only reflected off the plaque for less than a second, but I had to do a double take as something caught my eye. I focused my torch on the plaque, and in complete disbelief, I again called out to the group, "No freaking way." Not only did this confirm that there was a Barbara and Edward tied to the location together, but there would have been, at a guess, at least 100 or more of these little plaques. So what were the chances that something would tell me, as I parked past this plaque, that I had to stop there? The group returned to where I stood, and we all read the plaque. Edward, Captain, and Barbara Downing. Taking it in and exchanging our amazement before continuing back to the car. Looking back on that night, none of us could have predicted the profound impact Edward would have on our future investigations. He transitioned from a fleeting presence to an almost constant companion in the spectral realm. We were unknowingly at the cusp of a deeper connection, one that would forever alter our understanding of the paranormal and bind us to the story of a returning spirit. His presence would soon become familiar, a comforting and trusted connection from the afterlife. The first sign that something was amiss arrived mere days after our initial session. Despite meticulously adhering to our established ritual of closing off our spiritual connection that night, a golden rule we never broke, the feeling of an extra presence lingered. This feeling intensified when a connection of ours, a gifted psychic medium, reached out to us to inform us that a spirit named Edward was urging us to return to the lookout. Naturally, our curiosity piqued, and as any seasoned paranormal enthusiast would, we immediately began planning a return visit. While the second night at the lookout proved uneventful, we couldn't help but joke that perhaps Edward had somehow hitched a ride back to our house and simply needed a lift back to his spectral hangout. As time went on, our investigations were frequent, often spontaneous and usually loosely structured. In these sessions, Edward's presence felt increasingly prominent. He seemed particularly fond of interacting with our equipment, often triggering devices and appearing to communicate. We noticed a distinct pattern. He seemed to enjoy illuminating the cat balls, causing them to flicker with light, and he showed a fascination with the diviner rods, often causing them to swing and point in deliberate ways. Our continued investigations, this time back at the familiar local lookout, led us once more to Edward. This encounter felt different, however. I'd finally managed to delve into some of his history, discovering he was an ANZAC soldier buried somewhere in the Samasia region. An emotional question arose. Did anyone ever visit his grave? The thought sparked an idea: to locate his final resting place, visit and lay flowers in his memory. Edward, in his ghostly state, seemed receptive to this notion. This sparked a deeper plan: to pay our respects to Edward at his graveside on Remembrance Day, a day intrinsically linked to honouring those who served and sacrificed, a detail I will elaborate on shortly. During another subsequent investigation at a local historical garden, Phil and I were accompanied by my sister and nephews. Throughout the investigation, we contacted a spirit and we were able to get confirmation that it was indeed Edward we were communicating with. Repeatedly, my sister, my nephews, and I took turns asking Edward to indicate his location using the rods. Regardless of who held them, the rods consistently turned to point to my left, seemingly indicating that Edward was seated next to me on the empty space of the bench. This consistent response added a palpable layer of intrigue to the investigation, reinforcing our belief in Edward's presence. It became almost comical, this faith in Edward's consistent involvement. Almost any time a new investigation began, we found ourselves seeking to identify our ghostly companion. A familiar sense of anticipation would settle in. Phil and I had developed an unspoken understanding, a shared joke about the inevitability of interacting with Edward yet again. We'd even begun to predict his appearances, much to the amusement and perhaps slight bewilderment of other investigators. One memorable instance, unfolding within the halls of an education facility, perfectly encapsulated this phenomenon. The spirit in which we were interacting with did not outwardly identify themselves at first, but I already knew who it was. When no name had surfaced, Phil began methodically reciting the alphabet. Turning to my mother, who had joined us that evening, I whispered a playful wager. I bet Phil won't make it past E. The very moment the letter E escaped Phil's lips, the cat balls illuminated, echoed by our habitual, almost reflexive, greeting, "Hi, Edward!" It was a testament to his consistent presence, a humorous reminder of the unique connection we seemed to share with this particular spirit. Beyond the initial paranormal encounters, the quest to understand Edward the Anzac deepened through dedicated research. Fueled by the experiences of that first night, I, along with a family member gifted with a talent for the historical investigation, embarked on a journey to uncover the truth behind this spectral presence. Our research delved into local historical records, military archives, and personal accounts, seeking any connection to a soldier named Edward who might have served during the ANZAC campaigns and potentially met an untimely end in the area. While the paranormal investigation was compelling, grounding our understanding in the historical context became crucial to honouring the spirit that we were encountering and to ensuring this Anzac Day special held a deeper and more meaningful significance. Captain Edward William Downing, sometimes recorded as Edward Wilhelm Downing on official documents, was born on May 12, 1886. A resident of Moonee Ponds, Victoria, he answered the call to duty and enlisted in the Australian Army on August 19, 1914. Just over 2 months later, on October 20th, 1914, Downing and his unit, the 1st Signal Troop of the 1st Light Horse Brigade, set sail from Melbourne aboard the HMAT Carew A10. His service records reveal a diverse and demanding career, with stints in the Anzac Signal Squadron and the Anzac Mounted Division. Throughout his active service, Downing served in a variety of critical locations, including the harrowing battlefields of Gallipoli, the strategic landscapes of Egypt, and even Hill 40 situated in Guam, demonstrating his commitment and adaptability in the face of war. Edward's military records paint a picture of a generally healthy individual, absent of any significant or debilitating injuries. However, they do note intermittent illnesses throughout his service. Of particular interest are records indicating he sustained a concussion and a scalp wound at one point, requiring medical treatment. Following his service abroad, Edward made his way back to Australia on December 28, 1917. His time in the Australian Army officially concluded shortly after, on February 13, 1918, through a mutual agreement reached between Edward and the military. Edward's dedication to the Australian Army earned him a distinguished collection of honours. He was awarded the Star Medal, a testament to his bravery and commitment in a specific campaign, alongside the British War Medal and the Victory Medal, recognising his contribution to the Allied victory during the Great War. Beyond the tangible recognition, Edward was also granted a block of land in the Sarajevo area as part of the Soldier Settler Scheme, a program designed to reward returning servicemen. Embracing this new chapter, he embarked on a career as a horticulturalist, cultivating the land and applying his resourcefulness to the challenges and rewards of agriculture. Edward's life came to a close on February 7, 1941, at the age of 54. He left behind a memory of a life well lived, and most importantly, his beloved Barbara, whom he affectionately called his soulmate. On July 5, 1953, Barbara, at the age of 70, joined Edward in eternal rest. Their story culminated in a final shared resting place, a testament to their enduring love and companionship, as Barbara was laid to rest alongside her Edward. With newfound knowledge and a solemn promise hanging in the air, we embarked on our visit to Edward's grave on Remembrance Day. A red poppy purchased from a local military museum held firmly in my hand as we entered the sprawling cemetery. Uncertainty clouded our path, unsure of where amongst the countless headstones Edward lay. I activated GhostTube Original, hoping for a spectral nudge, and began our search in the area where I felt instinctively close to him. A simple question echoed in the quiet air. Did anyone know Edward, and could they guide us to his final resting place? Then a peculiar event unfolded. A flurry of rabbits darted away, all heading in the same direction. Following their path, my gaze landed on a particular headstone nestled among other headstones. It wasn't outwardly distinctive, yet a strong intuition told me that it was his. As I approached, recognition dawned and I beckoned Phil to join me. Together we paid our respects, shared our memories, and expressed our gratitude for his service, finally laying the poppy upon his grave. Looking back, that moment remains a profound highlight and a cherished experience that stands as a testament to our journey in para-abnormal. While we will undoubtedly continue to visit Edward's grave and pay our respects whenever we are at that cemetery, we observed a shift in his presence since our Remembrance Day visit. Though he occasionally connects, offering a brief greeting, it seems Edward has finally found peace and is resting easy, a comforting realization for those of us left behind. From a para-abnormal perspective, our gratitude for every interaction with Edward is immense. As the research and planning for this video concludes, a profound sense of privilege washes over me. To have connected with Edward in spirit, to embark on this journey of uncovering his life, his unwavering service, and his deep devotion to his soulmate Barbara, these experiences have been truly transformative. It's a comforting thought, and one that I genuinely believe, that Barbara remains by his side in the spirit world, their bond as strong now as it ever was. Edward's service to our country and community will forever be etched in our memories. He dedicated himself to protecting and serving others, a commitment that demanded courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication. We are deeply grateful for his selflessness and the sacrifices he made to ensure our safety and well-being. I have no doubt that his passing was met with profound sadness and a heavy heart. May he find eternal peace after his long and dedicated service. Rest in peace, Edward. Your service will never be forgotten.